God! Are you alright? Stop seizuring!
Shalom.
Seizure. Oh.
Yeah, so what movie did you really see? We saw Yellow Fever, or is it Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the sequel to that?
A movie with too many famous actors, but no story.
With what's it called Contagion? Was it? Yeah, we just saw this movie, and if anything I have to take away from it would be, I would advise eating any more Chinese food. Yes, that's the lesson I took away from this movie.
It's like I was sick after seeing this movie, but not in a good way. Whenever you see a movie like this, where it's an outbreak movie, you want to come out being afraid, but you just weren't afraid. There was no fear.
It was the most boring movie I've probably seen in maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, well,
nothing happened. They build all these story plots up, and then they end it with like a smile and be like, "Oh, 2 billion people are about to die," but I guess not.
But it's okay because most of them are Chinese people, so it is nobody cries for that. You know?
Well, at least to say like what Yakub was saying with the build-up, such cool music in the movie. It was Soderbergh's kind of thing where if you have a movie like Ocean's 11. The music for this was just really cool and perfect for that. So for a spy type movie, but it just built up stuff and then let you down.
Yeah, it wasn't implemented well at all. Yeah. It's like they build up all this cool music and all these doctors walking around. You're about to see something cool, and then it's just a diagram, and you're like,
whiteboard.
Okay,
yes,
all right. Anything else? And then the music stops. They cut to something else. You're like.
I thought they were gonna do something with that R naught number right there. They're like, this disease that was deadly and killed like 8 million people had an R naught number of 1. The new one has an R naught of 12 or so. I thought they were gonna and then at the end we find out it's a 2.
Yeah, there was a 2, and then it went to 4.
Stop touching your face.
Yeah.
Disease. Get one down. 2,999 to go.
I got some more because it's from you, and but I'm immune to it because I'm Chinese, so that means I'm exposed to it. Natural
racism
immunity.
Card, right?
Yeah, pulling the race card. Yeah, this movie, the trailer makes you feel like it's kind of a thriller with all these quick cuts and scenes. Like I originally thought this was going to be kind of like a zombie-esque movie. There were people was going to happen to get infected, crazy things are going to happen. But like Raj and Yakub said, unfortunately, none of it really happens. You really don't even get to see a lot of the struggles. It's kind of like I was telling to Raj, one of the movies I actually liked was The Road, which actually showed people trying to struggle through it.
You know, I saw that movie and I read that book. It was a good movie, but it's the most depressing thing that you'll ever watch in your life. You're just sitting here like, just shoot yourself in the fucking face and let's move on. I don't want to sit here anymore.
Yeah, but with that movie, I didn't read the book, I saw the movie, it shows the relationship between the father and the son and how important it is to keep going, surviving on, even everything's already lost. But in this movie, we have pretty boy Matt Damon, who, of course, is not gonna. He is resistant, immune. Of course, he's not gonna die.
You not only know that he's not gonna die just because he's a great actor, but they even just say it's like, oh yeah, you're immune.
Well, I mean, this is the part of his life after the Bourne Ultimatum where he just hits his head again. He just doesn't remember. So all that training makes him immune.
I was actually expecting him to like, what do you mean I can't see my kids? Go out, knock people out, jump into the river, swim somewhere.
I could run for 8 miles and then I'll shake.
Yeah, man, I was expecting all that. It didn't happen, though.
Well, it's like, speaking of Matt Damon, there were so many great actors in here. Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Bryan Cranston. They're amazing actors, but their parts were so, like, blah. Like, you could have picked anyone to do that. It's like they used their entire budget just to get actors to just, like,
and then they'll build things up with, like, a famous actor. Like, I forget his name, but the guy who figured out how to multiply the virus without injecting it into humans.
You grow the virus,
Yeah, right? He figured all that out in like maybe 2 minutes, and then they cut him out of the movie. Without explaining why. He just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, there's so much potential that didn't follow up on, and a lot of Roger saying he really liked the sound of the soundtrack, the score of the film. I didn't really notice it that much, but what I did notice was so many times of the movie, that felt really boring. Like, we don't need to know the names of the strain of this particular virus. We don't need to see all the diagrams. And there's scenes in this movie that just kept dragging on and on. There's so many times where I thought it was going to be over with, like I felt for The Dark Knight, but it just kept going on. Perfect example for what I was telling Raj earlier was there's a scene, right, where Matt Damon sees his neighbor, something bad happens to them. And then he goes, gets a shotgun, comes back home, he asks for his daughter, no reply, right? He goes to the window, he sees all these footsteps leading to his home. I was expecting like blood drops or something. And then the next scene, like, you know, they're building up tension. The next scene, they're outside doing something that was just like, oh my God, kill them now.
Really?
Is this
what happened?
Yeah.
It just kind of goes to show that no matter what happens, crisis, epidemic, calling the National Guard, you're never going to keep a teenage boy away from a teenage girl.
Right.
It's just always going to happen.
He had a crush. Did you understand? Did you never have a crush?
He got this close and then pulled away.
During SARS, you weren't chasing women. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, that's true. Like we said, it just set up a lot of different plot lines. It was kind of neat how they showed an epidemic breaking out from like way different like sides, but since they had so many different sides, they just didn't finish anything.
Yeah.
So it just left a bad taste in your mouth.
Yes, it's like what we were talking about earlier. All of us, when we saw the movie, the first thing that came to our minds was, this is, if you took the ending of the planet, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, remember that scene where the plane's traveling over the world? I think they go to like London first, and then it just like spreads out. It's almost like they didn't have enough money to make that, so they just did you a quick diagram to show you, and this was the movie that would show. This was going on to humans while the apes were like in the forest, like
the redwood forest.
Yeah, redwood forest, like gathering their army.
Halfway through the movie, I was like, Caesar just better jet through all these cities, just beating up all these humans.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good critics reviews, but unfortunately, not us commoners. You know, we don't feel that way. We feel like I felt like this whole movie was one long cock tease. Like I was promised something, and I left with blue balls. Right?
Several times.
Yeah,
I'm gonna finish. No, I'm gonna do it. No.
I almost fell asleep.
Yeah,
I
think I heard you yawning. Like I heard someone snore. Was that you, or is that something I heard? Yeah,
man. This morning when they mentioned the amount of times that people touch their face normally, the guy to my left like literally touched his face like 12 times. I have to make up for it. Oh man, I'm behind.
One of our buddies who saw this movie with us said that he would have preferred it if this was like a TV series, and I completely agree with him. I felt like if they did to this movie what they did for The Walking Dead, I think that would be great. Like one long drawn out thing, because there's so many plot lines going. It was just so full of potential, but they just didn't have time to get everything in there.
And there weren't any plot lines that were like not interesting. Like all of them were kind of interesting, but since they just didn't finish it, some of them didn't even try. They just like cut out the guy.
Yeah, it's like the way the movie went. 2/3 of the story plot lines you could have removed.
Yeah.
And then maybe concentrate a little bit more on let's say the three main ones.
Yeah.
And then the movie would have been 10 times better. Right? Like the guy who figured out the strain. Why couldn't, I don't know, Lawrence Fishburne figured it out. Right? This dude was like, I don't know, 2 levels below them, and he just figured it out because he ignored orders. There's 2 scenes wasted. You just, I don't know, save $20 million. Not to get him.
I love that when they had like the level 4 bio clearance, and then he's like, he figured it out to level 3? What? Are we gonna trust this guy? I was like, what? Really?
It's like, he's the only one with the answer, and he's like, I don't believe him. He's lying.
What? He's not wearing a Brooks Brothers custom-made shirt?
And then that also was funny, like, Matt Damon calls the police, and they're like, oh, with the overwhelming number of 911 calls, like, we can't reach you. And then he hangs up, or he's still on the phone or something, and then you see, like a guy driving
you see a black guy driving a pickup truck, and you see not one, but 2 police cars chasing him. So
even in the epidemic, you still have the cops chasing the black guys. It's just terrible.
And Gwyneth Paltrow, Country Strong, She has no luck in this movie because something happens to her that's kind of similar to what happens to her in 7, but not that extreme because it is a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
So What do you guys think of this movie? Would you rate it?
Oh, this movie was absolutely terrible. It was boring. There was no entertainment factor, and
you're left with blue balls. Yeah, you feel cheated. You paid $11 for a good time and you didn't get it.
And I was texting.
There's no happy ending.
I was texting one of my friends for the movie. Don't go see this movie. And he was like, "I just bought an IMAX ticket." No, leave. Why? It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, the IMAX makes experience that much better.
Oh yeah,
that much worse.
Matt Damon just looked that much sexier, right?
Matt Damon wasn't really that good in this movie. Jude Law was probably my favorite actor in this one.
He was the only actor that was like worth watching, and he actually had like a cool dynamic to him. Yeah. But everyone else was just kind of,
So you just want to give it like a screw you?
Yeah, just don't waste your money.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't think about it that way. I thought it was probably a very realistic depiction of what will probably happen. That's closest to the zombie apocalypse as much as people want to fantasize about that. If something like that ever happens, it's going to be where we have a disease where. Because human population keeps getting higher and higher, it's going to be overcrowding. There's going to be a lot of squalor, a lot of diseases, and then something like this happens, the wipe people out. I wish they would capitalize on the looting part more to show the human side, because honestly, I didn't really care that much about the characters in this movie. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to give it the 2.5 out of 5 pork fried rice. Yes.
No more saves. Pro looting.
Yes. Yeah, I said it.
If the situation is correct, you know you would do it.
And that situation is days that end in Y. I think I'll give this movie a 1 out of 5 pork fried rice, because I kind of like the music, even though it didn't fit in this movie, the way that it flowed. And actors are... and they spent all their budget on that. And I liked showing this one epidemic that could happen from like all these different
disease. Spread it.
All these different angles, all these different perspectives. Even though they didn't finish it, at least they started with stuff that's interesting. So only a 1.
Just cough.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll tell you guys what, man. After this movie, I did not want to eat any Chinese food. None of that.
And that's traveling from him, like a black man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, this movie should be banned in China, because it shows, okay, it pretty much is saying, don't go to this country. You will get effed up. That's pretty much